out. And that's why water leaks into the MIC storage tank. And then the other safety precaution is MIC is supposed to store it at a low temperature because if it's, for safety reason. But the refrigeration system has been turned down since June, and trying to save money, and the Freon, which is the refrigerant, was shipped to other plants. So that's another problem. And there is a safe design here, which is the vent gas scrubber. So basically, that's kind of a safety design. Say, okay, whatever, if there's MIC leaks out, and we'll have a scrubber unit to neutralize the MIC. But the same thing, scrubber was turned off, so never had a chance to treat the MIC. And after the scrubber, and there is a flare tower, so whatever is left over is supposed to be burned off. It's another safety measure, but the problem is the connecting pipe has been removed, so the flare tower is under maintenance, so it's not working. And the last measurement is there's a water curtain supposed to be the last resort to neutralize whatever come up from the flare tower. But the thing is, the curtain was not high. The water cannot shoot high enough to reach there. So basically, all this safety devices and measures were compromised, and that's caused the major danger. And if you search on the web, there are a lot of really bad pictures that I don't even want to show. And this is the Time magazine cover page that's on December, I think it's on December 17th, which is just a few days after the disaster actually happened. So that's how widely the effects are. So basically, it's kind of a worldwide news. And so after these two major disaster, it's foreverly changed public attitude towards our industry. And actually, AICHE is the first one to launch a Center for the Chemical Process Safety, CCPS, in 1985. And afterwards, Congress passed the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act in 1986. And then EPA in 1990 passed Clean Air Amendments. And then in 1992, we have the OSHA rule of 29 CFR 1910 and .119. We're going to talk later. And also we have the EPA 40 CFR 68 in 1996. So all this leads us to for the industry to go for a safer process and design all the safety precautions in our process. And about this, actually, Union Carbide was later on bought by Dow. And I remember, I guess Dow said after they bought the Union Carbide, they set aside $2 billion just to settle all the claims afterwards. But I don't know if they actually gave to anyone for that. But basically, that just saying, the shareholders even realize how bad this is. They are willing to pay out of their pocket to settle whatever the lawsuits and all the problems after. And I guess after this one, and there's another one that's happened pretty recently. it actually affected me a little bit more because I guess it was happened in March 2005. I guess 2005 was the time when I actually started working on HAZOP. And also people were kind of involved here are actually all the Jacobs engineers actually from Pasadena. That's why I wanted to talk about it. It's really, that's kind of the reason I think it affected me most. So basically, it's a BP refinery in Texas City had the explosion on March 23rd, 2005. This happened during restart of an isomerization plant. And what happened is the distillation tower and the blowdown drum was flooded with hydrocarbons. Basically, there is a geyser-like release from the vent stack. And then there's a truck was idle next to it as well, so that's how it ignited and caused the explosion. Basically, there are 15 workers got killed, 180 others are injured. And many of the victims are working actually in the trailer located near the explosion. Actually, those are the workers, through the Jacob contractors, and they are working on something unrelated to this, and they are not aware of there's a restarting up of the plant. And the aftermath is 43,000 people were sent to the indoor shelters, and more than 1.5 billion in financial losses. And I don't remember if you paid attention. About a month or 2 months ago, there was a 60 minutes special talk about this. A girl was suing BP for, for the damage, I guess, because she thinks this can just basically it's completely caused by the ignorance on the safety issues by BP, and both of her parents were killed in this incident. And so this one is the deadliest industrial accident since 1990. I think this is about just everywhere, yeah. Yeah, but this is 1990. The Bhopal one is like 20-something years ago. Yeah, and I'm going to show, because starting this point, because there's actually a lot of regulations about safety, and we actually have a U.S. Chemical Safety and Hazard Investigation Board to investigate what happened. So I'm going to show a video, and that video would kind of simulate what happened to the process. And if I can get out of here. Oh, this is not even set up yet. Can I start it? Can we hear? No? I think there's no volume option now. This one here.
Yes, this one.
Can you bear? Where?
This one right there, right next to the time, the speaker track.
Yeah, I think I already turned it up.
And then
So, is there any way? Do you think I put the speaker on here will be better? So basically what it explains is, okay, during the restarting up, the hydrocarbon was overfilled the tank. There is a level gauge, but the level gauge is not high enough. So once it's go over the level gauge, you cannot see the level. And there's supposed to be a level alarm. The first alarm was triggered, and there's supposed to be a high alarm, but that one was not working. So. And okay, I apologize that people probably don't hear, and I'll try to load it on the website so you can check it out later on. Now let's try to go back. Oops. So again, this is a preventable accident, and it has the faulty level transmitter and faulty level alarm, both high and high doesn't work, and the control valve didn't work, and no pressure indicator or pressure transmitters, and there's no flow transmitter to help to calculate how much flow is actually getting into the tower. So there's no way for the operator to know what's going on at this point. And also there's another problem. It's deviated the procedure, and the drain valve was set to the manual mode to close instead of following the procedure. And when something like this changes, actually needs to go through the safety review and see what potential hazard can be. And also the location of the trailer is just too close to hazard area. I think after 2005, there's a new regulation said no trailers are allowed in any hazardous area. So I guess in old days, if you go to refinery, you see a lot of engineers work in the trailers and right next to the plant where they're working on. And nowadays, it's not allowed. And what's interesting is after this explosion, this exact refinery had another one 4 months later, which has $30 million in damage. Yep.
What was the name of the company that designed the plant?
I didn't know. I don't know. I think the thing is BP bought this plant I forgot what was the plant. They bought it about 2 or 3 years ago, and at the time it's already everyone knows the plant has a lot of safety problems. That's why right now the BP is settling with whoever is suing them. That's why it's 1.5 billion right now. It's because they know it's not right. Because in the past several years, the chemical industry was kind of was not making a lot of money, so they're trying to cut corners, cut costs, and of course, in this case, in that measure, then a lot of safety issues are overlooked.
The other explosion, this was the same one, that's the same thing?
Yeah, and actually over the weekend, I don't know. I guess there's another refinery. Where is it? It's Oklahoma. Yeah, that one actually before they actually have the fire, and they have like 22 citations, safety citations. So if you read it, it's really a lot of safety problems are preventable. It doesn't necessarily to happen. Although we work on a dangerous, field, but we actually can design things better, and also if we operate in a safe way, it's preventable. Acronyms? Okay. Oops, am I going too far here?
He's talking about the previous slide.
The one that hurt.
Which one?
The BP explosion where you showed the video.
Where I showed video? Oh, sorry. This way? Yeah. Yeah, that's basically, I guess the instrumentation, the engineers here probably know. LT is a level transmitter, and I guess different projects, they probably have different requirements on how to label those instrumentation. And I guess LAH is a high level alarm, and the LAHH is high level alarm. And PT is pressure transmitter, and the PI is pressure indicator or pressure gauge, and FT is a flow transmitter.
So all those are like design side, right?
Yeah.
So there was no operator involved? I would think.
Yep.
The operator.
Yeah, the operator deviated the procedure, and yeah, because the HAZOP is it's hazard and operability studies. So. And so I guess with all the incidents, and it's natural that we know it's going to be regulated, right? And so let's talk about the OSHA and the EPA regulations. And over here I put a lot of information on the slide, and I think it's kind of on the boring side because I mean all we need to know is we need to do the process hazard analysis, which is called the PHA, right? I have a summary table here, basically just compare the two regulations that affect us the most. That's why we have to do it this way. And one, excuse me, one is from OSHA, and of course OSHA that the regulation is 29 CFR 1910.119, and the other one is the EPA 40 CFR 68. And OSHA regulation is called for process safety management. It is to prevent a major chemical accident and mitigate their consequences throughout the life of the facility that handles highly hazardous material. And I guess there's a list of what they call the highly hazardous material as well. And the EPA risk management program is used for chemical accident release prevention. And the OSHA rule is, the final rule is on February 24th, 1992, and it's effective from May 26, 1992. And the EPA one was about 2 years later. And basically the difference between OSHA rule and the EPA rule is the OSHA is used to ensure safety and healthy working conditions for workers, and the EPA is to protect the public health, safety, and the environment. So one is for the people who actually work at the plant, and one is for the public. OSHA calls the highly hazardous substances, and it has 130 chemicals listed over there. And EPA calls those are regulated substances, and the total is about 139, so it's about the same amount. And OSHA requires the employer to use the safety analysis, and the EPA requires the owner or operator. So both programs requires the prevention, needs to have the prevention measurement, and that's including PHA, which is process hazard analysis. And both requires the PHA needs to be reviewed every 5 years. It's not like if you did one, then that's final, you don't need to do it anymore. And also it needs to be updated and revalidated whenever there's a change to the process. You need to do the PHA one more time. And the difference between the OSHA and the EPA is EPA has the community right to know clause in there. So that requires a publicly available risk management plan. And OSHA requires to analyze the on-site consequences, which is the workplace. And the EPA requires to analyze off-site consequences associated with the worst case and the alternative release scenarios. All right, so I guess we talked enough about how the law came in order, And next, we're going to talk about actually the PHA and HAZOP and how to apply them. So let's take a break. Oh, you have some?
Yeah, which is like, what is the RPM?
Oh, this is RPM. Remember the acronyms? The RPM is Risk Prevention Management. If you read here, RMP, sorry. Thank you. I need to check that. Thanks.